Hi guys. So I will start to publish on a library or BitChute, one of those alternative video publishing platforms, because YouTube, um, even though it's of course the best tech and I love it as a service, it's really censoring too much valuable people. For example, Stefan Molyneux, who I got a lot of value from. He's now banned from YouTube, and there are many others. It's but I will in my next videos say it one more time. But I will start probably publishing there, and I will probably not double publish, huh? So I like to help these platforms, and so you're gonna have to put a little bit more effort in watching my videos on these other platforms. But if it's of value to you, my videos, I'm sure you will. Huh? So I just had a lot of pain with a missed opportunity with Tesla, selling my options at $80, and as of today, 1 month later, they are worth $400. Huh? So that's a forex that I missed with about 20% of my portfolio. That's really painful, and I'm happy also that I feel that pain because it's been a very long time that I made such a big mistake. What I did was I sold in investment where I knew it was very likely to go up a lot more. Huh? And the reasons that I gave were false, which is always the case, and it came from fear. Huh? And it's the fear and greed that makes you cause too many mistakes. And the how to detect is that if you think further about the rationale that you're giving, why you're selling, is not a sound reasoning. And so in my case here, I said, yes, but I don't want to risk losing it all. All those profits that I made, that's why I sell it all. And that's actually not a good reasoning because well, you also have a chance to miss a huge opportunity. If I would have thought about that deeper, actually, it was likely that it would go up a lot higher. So, how will you feel then? Okay, you lock in everything in profit. You lock all the profits in. But what if it doubles or fourfolds or tenfolds again after? How will you feel then? You have to take that into account also, the fear as well as the greed, and then take a balanced decision where you do a piece. And usually that's the best solution. Like you listen to both parts, you lock in some profit, but you leave in most investment if the chance is still high to go up a lot. But if the chance is only 50-50 or even low that will go up a lot, you leave in a little. That's how you and also when you follow the Kelly criterion, which is the most rational approach to allocation to investing, it will always actually tell you the same. Huh? And so um, and it's painful to know that I could have had at least 50, my portfolio could have been worth 50% more today, just by this small mistake, a big mistake, of course. And the last big mistakes that I've made, that I remember, is the one in 2018 at the top of the crypto bubble. I called it the top. I warned everybody to get out, but I went out myself way too little, only 20%. And as usual, I thought it would go a little bit higher. I was planning to sell then more, and but it didn't go a little bit higher as the collapse started, and I had created the wrong investment rules. I became a hodler and that's why I left 70% of my crypto invested. And due to that, and I believe that was the right strategy. But by the end of that year, 2018, I realized after losing 80% of my portfolio value that I had made a big mistake again, and I learned a big lesson. And that was in at the end of 2018, where I said, you know, I'm an investor. I'm not a crypto entrepreneur. For them, it makes sense to hodl, because timing the market is very difficult if you're not really into that and if you haven't studied a lot. But I have studied this a lot. I'm good at timing the market on average. Sometimes I'm wrong, but on average, I make good calls and I make extra money there. That's my quality. And so I have to stick to what I know. And be focused as an investor and be rational about my allocation decisions and not fall into traps of greed. The whole hodl thing is basically a greed, allowing you to control you, or the other way around, allowing fear to control you, and always remain rational. And so yeah, that was my last big mistake, and it's now 2 years ago, and now I make another big one. I think it's good actually that I make this big mistake, because as of today, we are actually at the early stages of a crypto bull market, and actually, like I've like the missed opportunity pain in crypto is tremendous. Huh? Everybody has been investing in crypto knows how it feels to sell something too soon, and that's why hodling is so popular, because in the past this has proven to be actually the best investment strategy, and because crypto has gone up so much, and if you think like an investor, it's very likely you will fall into the trap of selling too soon and experience a lot of pain from missed opportunity. um, but I would say that that's certainly the case today also for crypto. Like crypto has gone through a very long sideways market now, 2 years and a half, that we're in the bear and early bull market, where prices of crypto are relatively low. And my biggest fear is that I will have a lot of pain by not investing enough in crypto today. That's why I want to go through this chart again, to see if I made any mistakes here, and to double check whether my investment strategy is rational. Because currently I'm invested 40% in crypto, and um, 27% in Bitcoin Cash, and 14% in Ethereum. That's 40%. So if my lower targets are not reached and I'm not able to invest more in crypto, and we go up from here, then I will start this bull market basically with only a 40% exposure. And that would be a very painful thing for me to experience. Um, and because if you look at what I invest in Tesla, for example, today, the upwards potential is, I actually just erased that. I had before like 1,500, it's now 1,400. Before I had an upwards potential of 1,500, which was with a margin of safety built in. And now, as typically goes, you raise your upwards potential as the price goes higher. So this may be a big mistake, but I do believe it's rational. As you, if you watch my previous video, there's no euphorism yet in the Tesla stock, and I do believe that it can go therefore considerably higher. So that's why I changed to 2,500. But even if you change that to 2,500, the upwards potential is not even a doubling anymore. Whereas with crypto, the upwards potential is tenfolding for Ethereum, and 40-folding for Bitcoin Cash. That's a huge difference. And so the same for the oil tankers. Actually, I don't know if this is true, but it looks like the upwards potential is a lot less than I expected. I thought these were 10x kind of investments, and that's why I had a 5x there. But it seems that that's not true. I haven't verified it, but I'm just going with the conservative approach here, that let's say it's true and it actually has much less upwards potential, only 200%. Well, that's a lot less. That's a tripling compared to tenfolding or 40-folding. So that's the investments I'm in: 30% Tesla, 30% oil tankers, and so basically choosing this instead of crypto may become a real painful experience if the market goes up from here. So very important to check whether my allocation is rational as of today. So I want to take another sheet also. Let me take that first. So the crypto investment plan that I have here, that's where I set my allocation targets and decide my allocation. It's not up to date. We're now the 9th of July. and we're not at 260 billion. We are at 275 billion, a little bit higher, 5% or so. Huh? But that's really of little importance. Same here. I update the sheet here to the 1st of July, 260 billion. But so this is where I decide basically how much I should be allocated and what's my next buy-in target. Huh? So I set as a next buy-in target that I want to see again 60% undervaluation, because I think that's likely. How likely? I'd say not that likely, only 55%, to be conservative. And 60% undervaluation means we go to basically 40% valuation versus a trend line, which is something that we have seen at the beginning of crypto 10 years ago, in the middle in 2016, and we've seen it again very shortly 2 3 months back when crypto was collapsing. But my argument is that in every bear market we see an undervaluation to the trend line. Bear market, actually, this is actually already an early bull market. But in every early bull market we see an undervaluation to the trend line. This is actually also an early bull market. We see an undervaluation to the trend line, but this was missing here. But now it has really started an undervaluation to the trend line. And how low will that go? Likely, well, we see that the trend is that we get higher and higher undervaluation to the trend line, but it's only a 10-year history here with 2 cycles to look back to. That's not a big. It's not like the stock market where you can look 100 years back. So it's 10 times less. So it's not that strong of an argument, but it's the best argument we have. And past performance is the best indicator of future performance. So that's my assumption here, which has worked out very well for me in all aspects of life. And when I make big mistakes, usually because I haven't studied the past performance of a girl or of a car that you buy, or of a house that you decide to move into, or an investment that you decide to make. If you study the past performance and you assume that this is the best indicator of future performance, you can avoid a lot of trouble in your life. And applying this to crypto has worked out very well. This chart here. And if we apply that, we have to say that yes, indeed, in the past, the pattern has been that we get higher undervaluation over time. In the beginning, it was only 60% to the trend line. It doesn't go much below it. But the second one was like 50% on average compared to the trend line. So if we go like from 40% undervaluation, 50% undervaluation, likely we'll go to 60% undervaluation. And it's also not that fundamentals have changed in crypto. Crypto really has a big problem with the leader Bitcoin core, who has limited the amount of transactions it can process and therefore increased the price per transaction a lot. And it's like 100 folding, 1,000 folding in price, and therefore it become much less attractive offering, and it has also really slowed in adoption. So I mean, the fundamentals have stayed the same, so there's no reason to think that the crypto industry is much more healthy now than it was, for example, in the previous cycle or the cycle before. No, it's actually more sick as before. But even if you would say it's actually the same, it's more neutral, then you have to assume that actually past patterns will continue into the future. So a higher undervaluation over time is the most likely. And so 60%, seeing 60% undervaluation compared to the trend line multiple times, because this is like on average 40%. You hit it one time here, one time here, one time here. It's like over 1 year that you hit it 3 times. Here, 50% undervaluation. You hit it like for over 1 year and a half constantly. So now we saw 60% undervaluation, but only once. So it's very likely, actually, it's not just likely, it's very likely that we will see this multiple times over the next year, year and a half. And that means that's not a bear market, it's a bull market. We saw the low a long time ago, a year and a half ago. It's not likely to break that low. This trend is up, but going to 60% undervaluation compared to the trend line will be experienced by the market as a bear market, even though it's an early bull market. But it means that, yeah, voila. So that's my target. And I think I am being modest in saying like there's only 55% chance to hit that. You can easily increase that to 60% or 70% and say actually 70% chance that sooner or later we get a 60% undervaluation. But even if you take 55, what is the recommended allocation as of today? We just use we look at, okay, today we are 33% undervalued. We will likely go to 60% sooner or later. But what does that mean for the allocation? You just do the Kelly allocation calculation here, and it says that it's you should be allocated 40%, for Bitcoin Core, and even for Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash, 40%, huh? Because Kelly doesn't really look that much. The, the upwards potential is not so important in the Kelly formula, even though it's a lot lower in Bitcoin and a lot higher in Bitcoin Cash. That doesn't really matter that much. What matters most is how likely is it that we will go down sooner or later. That's what's really, because the moment you put this, for example, you say, oh, it's 70% chance, then the allocation is a lot lower today. It's only recommended 25% for everything. Huh? Um, so even if you are modest and give the benefit of the doubt to the bulls, which you should do in an early bull market, then still the allocation recommended is only 40%. And that if you go full Cali, but you don't go full Cali in a scenario where we are today, where the market is neutral. Huh? Like it's not bearish, it's not bullish. Huh? It's neutral. There is some bullishness in the DeFi sector of crypto, but there is also some general bearishness because prices are lower than they were 2 years ago. Many people still sit on lots of losses in Ethereum, in Bitcoin Cash, though much less in Bitcoin Core. It's at 10K. That's actually a very high price, and many people sit on good gains still there, but not so much for the other coins. So I would say the market is neutral, but when do you do full Cali? Full Cali is actually very risky. You only do that in extreme scenarios where the market is very depressed or has just gone down a lot. Then you could say, okay, let's do full Cali, and then it's like 40% recommended to invest today. But that's not the case today. Like actually, 70% Cali is already generous, and then you shouldn't be investing 40% today. You should be investing 30%. Huh? So I'm invested 40%. I'm above that. So to increase my allocation right now, because I do feel that often. And like, damn, Bitcoin Cash is only 240. Why don't I increase that? Like, it's so cheap 2 years ago when the market was crashing. And it first hit when Bitcoin Cash from 4,000 to 400, and it held there a little, and then it breaks 400, it goes to 250. I'm like, let's buy everything. Let's put everything in Bitcoin Cash. That was my response, my first response when I saw such low prices. But I was still at those low prices today, and I've been successful in making money in other markets. So why not convert Bitcoin Cash? But if you follow this rationale, it's not recommended yet. Um, Even if you would say, actually, there's not a majority chance, and there is only a minority chance to see 60% undervaluation, because, and then you give some arguments for that, then still it's recommended to be only 40% invested, which I am already today. But I don't think that's realistic. So my investment strategy is I use this to buy crypto, but I don't use this to sell crypto. I only think that you should start scaling down crypto when you're in serious overvaluation, and we're not near to that at all. So I'm not going to lower my exposure from 40% to 30%, but what I do is I'm being very generous when I make donations in the crypto world or to other people in general, because, well, it's likely crypto will go down. I will be able to buy the chips that I give, the coins that I give away today. I will likely be able to buy them cheaper in the future. Let's take a look where we are on Trollo with current prices. So I've updated to 260 billion, and that means that we're right here, and that means that we are um, undervalued with 30% about. Huh? Yeah. So it is undervalued, but not by that much. It's likely to be 60% undervalued to the trend line. The trend line also, which is very interesting, is pulling down a lot. Uh, it was even the case that I was updating the sheet, and um, in 1 month, normally you see the trend line always goes up, huh? But actually, let's say it was three, like 1 month ago, it was, let's say, um, here 370 billion was where fair value is, you could say, where the trend line was based on all historical prices, and extrapolate and taking the growth into account. 370 billion was a fair value, but then I updated 1 month later, and this 370 billion, then 1 month later it should be at least 370, right? But and it should be higher, but it wasn't. Actually, 1 month later, it was not even 370 billion. It was only 368 billion, and that was because the new prices that came in lowered the overall trend line. So I always said, like, the trend only is only upwards, and that's actually wrong. The trend is not only upwards. The trend line is always pulled down, actually, with prices that are below the trend line as they are today, and the trend line actually is not moving up over time. It can even move sideways over time or even down over time. And then still this trend line fits all past prices. So that's interesting to see. I never experienced that before. Um, so to say that, for example, that, yeah, okay, but okay, we will get 60% undervaluation in the future, but since the trend line always goes up, this can be at considerably higher fiat prices. Well, actually, that's not true anymore. Today, the trend line is actually not moving up much anymore. It's starting to really go sideways, and that means that 60% undervaluation, it will be cheaper fiat prices, huh? Very likely. What else can I say? Maybe also something else here about Bitcoin Core versus Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum. Interesting to see that Tuur de Meester, who has been a Bitcoin maximalist for many years, and really got lots of praise for all his opinions on the market, from that perspective, a huge following, 200,000 on Twitter. Now published one video after 6 years. You never see him on video, only on tweets. But now he makes a video with like nobody's following his channel, where he shares that actually he's going to take a step back from Bitcoin. He's not so interested anymore so much in Bitcoin. Um, and um, and um, and on his Twitter, he posts a tweet that he's investing in Ethereum. But it's still bad fundamentals, but he's investing in Ethereum now. So I think this is it's really, yeah, I find it disgusting. Um, he's of course a leader in the crypto community, but he has misled so many people, I believe, with his maximalism, and now he's also leaving via the back door. He's not even saying anything on his popular Twitter about Bitcoin. Whatever insights that have changed his mind and want him to take a step back because he had beautiful stories. It's because of the crisis or something, or because inflation is happening that he wants to take back step back of Bitcoin. Makes no sense. So I think that what's happening inside of him is that he starts to realize he's not really on the right ship. So he's like leaving via the back door here, in a cowardly way. And not helping any of his followers, basically. Just give a little hint by saying he's investing in Ethereum, but not now, even, but it's still a shit coin, basically. But he's investing in now, so the attentive observer will see that something is changing to the mist. But most of his 200,000 followers will just say, like, okay, he still thinks it's a shit coin, so all is well. but he's leaving the ship, and it always goes like that, with mismanaged projects. The leaders themselves that actually caused the harm, and have caused lots of harm to the project, and caused it to go down in in um, relevance. Um, they are usually smarter than the ones that follow all that talk, and the investors or the small investors in the project, and they often leave it before it goes down the drain, and in a cowardly way. They will not speak about how they were wrong, or what they might have overlooked. No, no, no. Um, and they will give a fake story, like they have to go due to health issues or some other bullshit, or they are going into retirement or whatever, like, but it's not true. They start to sense that they're on the right train. It's time to go, and that's the case here with Tutte Mestra. Here is his post embracing another asshole in the crypto community, Peter Brandt, a fraudster, someone who lies about his performance, who even ridicules the Kelly criterion, like totally unscientific approach to investing. Probably also Bitcoin maximalist, otherwise Tuurdemeister wouldn't give him any credit. So friends patting each other on the back. But yeah, investing in Ethereum here. So he's wise to not lose his own money on all his bullshit, but many others will. And it's I'm still like believing actually Bitcoin Core, despite being a terrible offering these days, will actually go up in the next bull market, but a lot less than Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash. So very wise of him, of course, to flip his BTC for Ethereum, because I think the upwards potential Bitcoin Core is like only 40K, and nobody has ever said that other than me in the Bitcoin analyst from Bitcoin analysts. Everybody is thinking gonna go higher, 100K at least, some think a million. But even people are careful say like at least 100K. I'm saying no, it's not gonna be 100K. It's gonna be 40K. That's double the previous all-time high. So I mean, they can still say they made money. They can still say like it's not a terrible investment. It's much better than many other investments. But compared to Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash, it will be a total missed opportunity. Basically, it would be investing crypto and only do a doubling or a quadrupling when you could have put an extra zero behind that, and do a tenfolding or a 40-folding is of course a huge missed opportunity that he's not going to suffer from, but many others will. So that's that on digital coins, because many people that follow my work are still thinking that yeah, Mark, he's a good investor, and oh yeah, he has done some great calls and some good analysis, but his preference for Bitcoin Cash, that's really wrong, and they're convinced about that. And it's true actually that my track record on selecting coins is not as good actually, and then on on calling market tops and bottoms. That's true. I've made the wrong selections in coins in the past, but we'll see how that goes here. I think that this time I will have that right. We'll see. Um, because as of today, actually, that's not been the case. Bitcoin Cash is priced cheaply, has lost a lot of its market share, also versus Bitcoin Core. Up until today, I have not proven to be right, but and many other coins have started to gain a lot of ranking the past year. The early bull market, like Link and Cardano, and now, yeah, I see you have many smaller DeFi projects actually have pumped already a 10x or so, or a 5x the past year or so. So things starting to move, but I think that the big teams they shift. So I think it is still at least the 50-50 that the big team in the next bull market will become, yeah, DeFi, okay. I think Ethereum will do well, but the big team may become actually that Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin. and Bitcoin Core is no longer Bitcoin. Huh? It's a simple concept, but it may create a massive shift in capital, and may absolutely create outsized returns in Bitcoin Cash. Huh? A lot depends on the fundamentals of Bitcoin Cash. Also, it needs to be well managed. There has been lots of conflict in Bitcoin Cash also about that. I have very good hopes there that the Amoris and Bitcoin ABC will lose their leadership. Actually, I have lost it already. It's just that the market, actually within the Bitcoin Cash community, people are not aware of that yet, or are still doubtful, and me too. Like, they are still there, huh? But I think they lost it already. It just still it will show in the actions in the future too. But that still needs to happen. But of course, good leadership is crucial. But I think Bitcoin Cash has that now also. Huh? If it didn't have that a year ago, and due to that, it has lost a lot of market share also. Huh? Because the biggest loss in market share for Bitcoin Cash was the split with Bitcoin SV, and that was inevitable in a sense that Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre really wanted also their own coin. But on the other hand, it was so poorly managed by the lead dev at the time, Amoris Shea and Bitcoin ABC, who was really a very arrogant personality who thinks he has all the knowledge and he has pushed away a lot of people in general from Bitcoin Cash, a lot of devs, valuable devs, was even trying to push out Roger Ver with all his endless critiques on Roger Ver, the best marketeer in Bitcoin Cash. Unbelievable. But when the split happened, Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre were able to convince a lot of people that Bitcoin SV is actually the right way forward and not Bitcoin Cash. And so due to that, it lost half its community and half its market cap, due to mismanagement. Huh? So that was not necessary. We should have lost only maybe 20% of the people, not half of the people. Huh? But these can all come back once we have clearly great leadership again, which I think is likely to happen. And then because right now you could say, yeah, okay, but Bitcoin Cash is an alternative to Bitcoin Core, but you also have Bitcoin SV. But that will change then. Then it will become clear once Bitcoin Cash has great leadership and some of these people come back, that also the market caps become very different. And then it will become clear that actually Bitcoin Cash is the one that is the alternative to Bitcoin Core fucking up, and it's not Bitcoin SV. That will likely happen over the next year, 2 years. And towards the end of the bubble, you may see the masses also do that shift. That starts with VCs and venture capital and big investors that are now just not really looking into the market. They are still investing in Bitcoin Core. They haven't really studied the whole split situation, and they still think that due to network effect, despite some mismanagement, Bitcoin Core will win. But it's so bad the mismanagement that's not gonna happen. You can't win in such a competitive industry when you have like high transaction fees and unreliable transactions, and nobody is building anything on top of you, and even the core devs, the lead devs, or not even like building like the on-chain infrastructure, which is the USP of a cryptocurrency. No, they are busy creating coins on second layers, or actually it's not even second layers. They just create custodial coins now. It used to be a Lightning network that was like actually an on-chain solution to scale on a second layer, but now they're just pumping liquid, which is just it's just a it's like the same as a stable coin, launching a stable coin on your network. That does like there is lots of counterparty risk there in a stable coin, and it's the same with liquid. Your bitcoins are held by someone else. You can't call that Bitcoin. They try to sell it as Bitcoin these days. Like, that's what they're focused on. That's what they're building. Like, every investor with some analytical skills will look through that, and will shift their investments out of Bitcoin Core towards others, because they know that the USP of cryptocurrency is not to create a counterparty risk coin. No, that's the whole point of crypto, is that you use the qualities of the blockchain, which is on-chain transactions with no counterparty risk, where you can where you don't need to trust anyone, where you can have uncensorable transactions. That's the quality of a cryptocurrency. I mean, if you're going to create a coin with that is held by someone else with counterparty risk, it's also not unsensible. It's sensible very easily. No. So I think this is the big story here still. Huh? And I hope you guys are with me there because, yeah, at any moment right now, we're in the early bull market, big coins can pump. Sorry, not the, yeah, the bigger coins can start to pump hard. Huh? So Ethereum, you see the foundation is being laid there. It's starting to pump more than other coins. This may become a bubble over the next half year, huh, where Ethereum pumps a lot and other coins do very little. Huh? And in that case, it makes a huge difference whether you're in Ethereum or Bitcoin Core. Eh? Our, how do you say that? Snake, Tuur de Meester can see it coming. But he won't help anyone else with that. But he will help himself with that insight. Moving his BTC to Ethereum. This timing is pretty good here. And he will not be left behind, but many others will. And I can only hope that if you follow my work, you're not one of them. So still holding on to BTC today is not a wise move. I have no BTC. I have not had BTC since the middle of since start 2017. So that's 3 years and a half. I've had not owned any BTC, and I've done very well actually thanks to that on average. And my returns in the crypto world have been, or in general, have been at least the same than just holding Bitcoin Core. Um, Despite Bitcoin Core today being 63% of the dominance, because that is, of course, a huge advantage for all Bitcoin Core investors have been proven right up until today. They have done very well compared to many other coins, but that will likely change. And now is the time to allocate accordingly, because the moment it has changed, it's too late. Hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day. You'll find the links to all these sheets below in the description.